Okay, so let's get into this. I'm going to talk about GLP-1s today, and I want to get straight into it. When it comes to GLP-1s, there's a big split in the industry. There are some people in the industry who are for it. There are some people in the industry who are against it. But from my experience of what I've seen in the industry, a lot of coaches are against GLP-1s. And I will just say, I'll be completely honest, I feel a lot of coaches are against GLP-1s because they are scared they're going to lose business, and they are scared that they're going to, lose money to GLP-1 medications. Now, I totally understand that, totally get it. But what I will just say with this is, as a practitioner or a coach in the industry, our job is to help people. There's no doubt about that. We should be in this industry to help people. Now, on that side of things, I'm not saying that GLP-1s are the answer to everything. I'm absolutely not saying that. I'm not saying that if somebody comes to me and talks about fat loss, that I'm going to direct them down a GLP-1 route. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is, and what we can't deny is, that people are using GLP-1s outside of obesity. Yes, we've not got any science outside of obesity when it comes to GLP-1 usage, but we can't deny it. We can't be blinkered to the fact that people are using GLP-1s outside of obesity. And what I see is people using GLP-1s outside of obesity going to ground with this, feeling a little bit maybe embarrassed about it, maybe a little bit of shame about it, and going to ground and then not being able to do this properly. And this is where the trouble comes. Now, I feel that the embarrassment and the shame from people taking GLP-1s, potentially if that's what they're feeling, comes from the industry, comes from coaches in the industry, nutritionists, coaches who are against GLP-1s, who are like, oh yeah, you should do it properly, don't cheat. And again, everyone's got their opinion. I'm not saying what's right and wrong, but my point of this video is, we're in this industry to help people. We can't deny the fact that people are doing GLP-1s outside of obesity. And what I don't think we can do as an industry is be blind to that. What I don't think we can do as coaches and practitioners who are trying to help people is just send people away and go, you're on a GLP-1, not going to help you, you should do it properly. Because this is what's happening in the industry. I've spoken to 2 people last week now who have been in this position, and one person in particular last week who spoke to me, who has started Mounjaro and was a little bit embarrassed about it, and I think thought I was going to have a really kind of dim view of it. And when we actually got involved and when we got speaking about the GLP-1, and once they realised that I actually understood the science on it and that I actually wanted to help, they really changed their mindset around it. And instead of kind of running away and going, I'm doing a GLP-1, I'm going to kind of go and do it on my own. Once we had the conversation, I was like, listen, you're doing a GLP-1, you're going to go and do this regardless of whether I agree with it or whatever I think to it. So how about this? How about I offer you the support to do it and do it properly? Because this is where people are falling down. They're doing GLP-1s and they're doing it with no idea about nutrition, without any clue about the science of how these medications work, and without knowing how to do it properly. So they go away, they do lose muscle mass, they do sometimes become unhealthy, they do sometimes lack serious nutrient density because their appetite's suppressed so low they don't want to eat anything, their protein's low, their fiber's low, hydration's not very good, all the key markers and levers they need to be pulling when on a GLP-1. So instead of me saying, oh right, well, you should do it properly, and have a really kind of pathetic view on it, I turned around and I was like, well, let me help you with this. We are already working with 2 ladies inside the consultancy through what I call the PHF pathway to help people on GLP-1s. So they don't go off and try and figure it out on their own, because from what I can see, when people do GLP-1s privately and weight loss injections as they're known privately, there's not a lot of support there in terms of nutrition. And it's just, there's your medication, crack on with it, we'll check in and see if we need to change a dosage. So I think in the industry, we've got a real area where we can really bridge the gap there and truly, truly help people. But you can only do that if you know the science. And again, I'm evidence-based, I follow the science. GLP-1s has been an area since the explosion of it. It's been a fascinating area for me, and I find it really, really interesting. So, for me, this is just a really interesting area. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, and you're always going to get people who want to lose weight, I don't know, what do we call it now? The traditional way, who want to manage calories, who want to, go through that system. And that's absolutely what we work with here. It's the main core work we do. But what we have to be open to is helping people on GLP-1s, because what we are seeing now with the trials for people finishing GLP-1s is that the rebound weights are there. Like, people struggle when they come off the medication because, again, it does all come down to behavior change. It does all come down to having a good relationship with food and understanding how to work in nutrition to maintain your results. So, for me as a coach, I just find it a really interesting landscape, and I find it disappointing. A lot of coaches out there are making people feel like, feel ashamed of doing it. So these people are going to ground and just not taking any help and becoming unhealthy as a potential result of that. And this is kind of here at PHF, this is where we're starting to bridge the gap now, because again, this has been a new landscape for us as well, but we've started working for a while now with two ladies who are taking GLP-1s and another lady who's just joining us after the conversation with me, talking about how they want to sustain the result once they finish their GLP-1 medication. They didn't even think about coming to join me while they were on the GLP-1 because they thought I'd have something against it, and they couldn't wait to tell me, I want to work with you when I've lost the weight and I want to sustain it. It's like, well, let's help you now. Let's make sure that we're holding on to muscle mass, making sure you're as healthy as possible, make sure you're getting the nutrients in there, hitting protein, getting fibre in there. And there's a way to do this on GLP-1s because appetite's suppressed, so you can't just be going and giving stupid advice with protein targets and fibre. There's a way to do this with GLP-1s. And again, we are working in that area now with people in the world of GLP-1, because again, whatever your opinion is of GLP-1, people are doing them, and I would much rather people do it with a helping hand from an evidence-based professional and getting help through that channel, rather than doing it alone and ending up in a worse position and feeling unhealthy after it, which again, two of the ladies who come to work with us came with us after GLP-1s, and they felt, I'm not saying they felt rubbish, but they just didn't feel like they kind of maximised muscle retention and their health with it, and we're working with them to build that back now, as well as sustaining the result they've got with their fat loss. So that's just my opinion on it. I find it a really interesting area, but one of the big things, my key takeaway is with this, there's a lot of coaches out there that are against GLP-1s, and it's selfish from them, in my opinion, because they just feel like they're going to lose money. And as a practitioner, if you're in this industry, you're here to help people. You are not here to think about your own self sustainability. You're here to help people. So whatever route they choose, you've got to be supportive. But again, you've got to know what you're doing in this area as well. If you are somebody who's using GLP-1 outside of obesity, drop me a message and let me know if this resonates with you. It's a fascinating area. And like I said, we're starting to get more and more people now come into the consultancy, inquire about working with us after a GLP-1. But when we have the conversation about, well, do you know what? Maybe we start now and help you sustain your health and do this in a proper way. We're now getting a lot of people going, actually, I want to do that. I want to do this properly. Let's start this now. So there's avenues there. So I'll be interested to know your thoughts if you're someone on a GLP-1. DM me, drop me a comment, whatever's best. I know a lot of people are quite quiet or closed about using GLP-1, so drop me a DM. I'm happy to have a conversation with you. I'd be interested to know your thoughts.